Hi everyone, I'm Kaius. Gacha games tend to have rosters of characters. Huge rosters of characters. Let one of these bastards roam free on Google Play for a year or two, and there's a guarantee that they'll come up with more characters than you can shake a stick at. Seriously, these character lists can sometimes go into the hundreds, with granblue fantasy sitting at over 500 and Fire Emblem Heroes sitting at 637, a number that will likely become dated not only by the time this video goes online, but probably before I've even finished writing this script, as noted by the fact that I wrote this script before the spring banner came out. So, why is it that of all of these characters, I'm only managing to summon one of these bitches over and over and over again? Yeah, that's right, I wrote an entire script about dupes. Fucking crazy, right? Duplicates, longhand for dupes, shorthand for my worst fucking nightmare, is a term used in gacha gaming to describe a copy of a character a player already owns. Though since you likely already know what the word duplicate means in real life, I'm not going to baby you, so let's move on. Duplicates, depending on who you ask, are either a blessing in disguise or a curse in plain sight, and a dichotomy of those two things lies in an ideology that's quite difficult to pinpoint or explain, but I'm going to try my best to simplify it. In PaRappa the Rapper 2, yes, this is an explanation and not a tangent, bear with me, I promise this will make sense. PaRappa the Rapper, just so you know, opens the game by lamenting that he has won a 100-year supply of noodle products, and while at first he likes it, it later starts to get to the point where he doesn't even want to think about noodles. After all, too much of a single thing and people will get tired of it eventually, even if they directly benefit from it or like it at first. Of course this logic doesn't apply to everyone who hates dupes, but people eventually get tired of duplicate characters, and it's exacerbated by the fact that honestly, even the developers don't know what they're doing with these things. The PaRappa tangent is a microcosm of the inherent problem that duplicates face that developers still can't seem to fix, and to better illustrate where this problem lies, I'm going to talk a little bit about how some gacha games I've played handle duplicates. In Fire Emblem Heroes, no doubt the game that you're all subscribed for, every character starts with a plus mark value of 0. This can go up to plus 10, but the only way to raise this by even 1 is to get a duplicate copy of the character on equal or higher rarity and merge it with the original, which means you have to collect the same character 11 times. And as hard of a trick that is for most heroes in the game, there isn't much of an incentive to keep going with dupes after the unit has reached the cap, unless you for some reason really like SP, but your character's probably already maxed out if you're using them enough to justify a plus 10 in the first place. You could also build another plus 10, but if you do that, you either really like the character in question, or you're weird and possibly dangerous. This is obviously not a new incentive to build duplicates, as Live Live, and I'm sure plenty of other games did at first, with Live Live's Galactic Festival completely changing the art of the card if you merge two copies of it together. Additionally, Fire Emblem Heroes has skill inheritance, a system that lets you remove one unit from your barracks in order to give a handful of their skills to another unit you own. This is arguably the best thing to do with dupes, but as I said at the start of this video, Fire Emblem Heroes has new units constantly funneling into the game's gacha like sweaty gamer bros to a Best Buy PS5 restock, and so too with them comes the game's power creep, so I don't think that Ogma's Defiant Attack Free is going to be of use anytime soon. The worst thing is, I could go on about how the dupe system in Fire Emblem Heroes isn't good, but regarding plus mark merges and skill inheritance, they're actually more versatile than most mobile games are willing to offer. In fact, a bunch of games don't even let you use the duplicates at all and automatically transfer them into some currency or power up for you. And this is inarguably worse because man, fuck taking power and agency away from the player. It also makes duplicate characters unrewarding, especially if they go to a character that you don't even use, and therefore it makes you feel like you essentially summoned nothing. Hosamo is easily the worst offender of this to me, as pools of duplicate characters you don't use are quite literally worthless, as you don't get any sort of currency, and Hosamo has no sparking system to speak of, so you're not working towards anything by pulling consecutively either. The only meaningful progression it gives is toward that specific card never appearing again in the gacha, since capped cards can't be summoned, and that's one hell of an upside to work towards, as you need to summon these units up to 100 times for this to even happen. It's ridiculous. Many other games like Dragalia Lost and Granblue Fantasy offer some kind of currency in exchange for duplicates you can't keep, and while I don't exactly like the small stipends of a random currency, it's at least better than giving the player no agency with items that they in some cases literally spent people money to get, so whatever. However, the problem with duplicates isn't a byproduct of a fundamentally broken system. The concept can be fixed, and in fact Faye comes remarkably close to a solution that allows duplicate heroes to maintain some sense of value even after their quote-unquote shelf life, and despite the shortcomings of the system I mentioned earlier. The most important part to stress is that Faye, in my opinion, has the execution near perfect, but instead of focusing more on immediate value in duplicates, the spotlight should be put on longer lasting value. In other words, creating a distinction between a duplicate and a bad drop. What Faye provides is a duplicate, and what Hosamo provides is a bad drop. I know I said the distinction is created here, but it's more or less created in a meta way. In actuality, Faye treats duplicates and quote unquote bad drops the same way, it just lets you rework the bad drops into something you're satisfied with. In fact, even on a technical standpoint, duplicates in Faye rarely happen to begin with, as Faye's summoning content actually comes with subtle differences. Back in July, I summoned for Swimsuit Byleth, and over the course of that 10-minute video, I ended up getting 3 copies in a staggeringly short time. Notice that I didn't say duplicate. That's because even though I summoned the same unit 3 times, not a single one of them was identical. The first one I got had an attack stat marked in blue and a speed stat marked in red. The second one I got had an HP stat marked in blue and a speed stat marked in red. And the third had an attack stat marked in blue and a defense stat marked in red. These are what Faye calls traits, though they're more commonly referred to in the fanbase as an IV. Every time you summon or otherwise obtain a unit, it will appear as a certain stat spread picked randomly from a set of 21 with all combinations between an asset, a stat to favour, and a flaw, a stat to decrease in favour of that asset, though sometimes you can summon a character with no asset or flaw at all. Which means that technically when one unit is added to the game, they actually add one base character of 21 subtle variations, which furthermore means that when I said Faye had 637 units in the game, I really technically meant 13,377? And that's a non-exhaustive number, not even counting the bunny banner with the shitty fucking now that was announced. I can't believe they did my girl like that. The same character is the same character, just like noodles are still noodles, but maybe PaRappa would have hated the noodles slightly less if they gave him 21 flavours to choose from. One of the solutions to the duplicate problem is to make duplicates on a technical standpoint statistically unlikely. Generating content in subtly different ways also gives more areas to explore for each unique character and leads to more interesting ways to build them in theory. And since the subtle variations are still the same character, you can merge them, saving players potential frustration, because could you fucking imagine if I had to summon the exact same Swimsuit Byleth out of 21 different versions when there's a measly 3% chance to even get her at all? I totally understand that this isn't a feasible solution for every gacha game, because some just don't let you keep the duplicates, and while I personally think that the games that do that without providing any alternative are stupid and aren't invited to my birthday party, that emphasises the importance of having a permanent currency or a way to obtain a currency with dupes. I should circle back into Faye and talk about hero feathers, but frankly they don't do enough. They're working as intended, sure, but they still don't do enough! And if not that, then you're probably thinking of granblue cerulean stones, and while it's a good point to make, it's not exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking more along the lines of something immediate. This is, of course, the part of the video where I bootlick the King of Fighters All-Star because Jesus fucking Christ, check this shit out. Got a dupe, you get souls and a memory. Souls can be used to raise the level cap of that character. Don't want them? Turn them into soul dust. Look at all this shit soul dust can buy. And memories can be used to awaken fully leveled characters and level them up even more, and also give them crazy tools that are super fun to use. Don't want to awaken up there you have? You can turn them into a blank memory instead. The best part, if you stack these blank memories for a certain rarity, you can up the rarity they're valid for, meaning that you can get these for purple borders even just farming off of 3 stars of the same element. Whew. It's a really subtle and neat way to incentivize customization of the fighters that you like to use, and since QF All-Star encourages you pretty much using any and all fighters for its endgame content, having these options is ridiculously important to the overall game feel. No matter how low the rarity of the dupe you get, even if it's not the dupe of the character you want, every single pool has you actively working towards a goal that you've set. It's one of those rare Netmarble W's that QF All-Star is always providing. Marvel Judge Fight can fuck off though. So these are 2 random examples of how duplicates are handled kind of well in games that I picked out of a hat. Not really, I love these games, I love them. Duplicates are impossible to avoid, but the best way to make them less unbearable is to give them depth and variety, but you also need to give the duplicates width, which is to say that duplicates should be usable even by someone who doesn't want them. I believe that it's not possible to have a perfect system, but in many games the heaviness of the cons vastly outweighs the pros. Customizability and variety seem to be the strongest ways to approach this dilemma in a way that makes the pros outnumber the cons, at least in a vacuum. There are probably more things I could suggest to improve the systems implemented in these games, but I've gone on long enough making weird tangents, and I'm making a deliberate effort to keep this video essay short. While this video probably won't change your thoughts on getting dupes, I at least hope I managed to share something new with you or give you some things to start thinking about regarding the subject. And yes, getting dupes sometimes can be cool. I would know because I literally pop off every time I get a Haida dupe. Yes! let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Oh my god, he's fucking perfect. Oh my god, I literally, you guys do not fucking understand the serotonin I get when I look at this man. Yes! Oh my god, level 2, let's go, let's go, let's go. Hey everyone, this is Kaius, and this is the part of the video where the video's over but I keep on talking on the video even though it's kind of after the video, but it's still the video. You just watched my Dupe's video. The word video sounds weird now. I know it was kind of short, probably didn't make sense, but the reason I made this was to make sure I could get a gacha game video essay out before my sparking video, which is taking longer than I anticipated, and I'll probably have it out by late April to mid-May at this point. I picked this topic because it was an easy one to research, but not a topic that a lot of people including mobile game development experts have really taken the time to talk about, and if people are interested in a full-on deep dive like the short lifespans video I did before and the sparking video I'll be releasing in the coming weeks, I'd be more than happy to double down and make a sort of sequel video on this. But if you liked the video, please be sure to like it and subscribe to my channel for more mobile gaming content like this. I know you're probably tired of hearing every single YouTuber ever say stuff like this, but it's very validating, and seeing the funny number in my name goes up, well, it brings me serotonin, honey. Also be sure to follow my Twitter at FalcoLambda and check out my Discord, the Kaius Club, for more frequent video updates because, well, let's be real, that community tab's fun, but YouTube's algorithm probably isn't showing my posts to many of you. What a fun website. But yeah, I'll leave you to it, and I don't know if this video even had any nutritional value, but fuck it, most of what I do is shitposts anyway, so I don't know, be excellent to each other and wear a fucking mask, Jesus.